Howdy doody, everyone. Oh my god, this mic. Every time now, it's not the mic, it's Windows. Every time Windows restarts, it forgets all my settings. Test, test, test. 1, 2, 1, 2. Blah, blah, blah. Right, now again. Because it keeps forgetting the setting for determining how much of my background I can hear through it. It keeps putting it so I can't hear anything. But anyway, back. Obviously, I wasn't on yesterday because I thought, screw it. With my internet being all turdy, I'll just leave it. We've had a visit from an engineer the day. He sat in the other room running tests for about half an hour, and then he was like, right, I got to go out. There's a problem somewhere outside. And he spent the next 2.5 hours replacing all the cabling leading up to the transfer box. So, fresh new cable. Hopefully it fixes the problem. We'll see. Oh, we'll see, all right. Where'd I put my juice? Spent a lot of time yesterday trying to get the colouring right on this. It seems like it's gone back to crap again. It's just the way this capture card works. It like outputs 4K, but it passes through 4K anyway, so I can have 4K on my TV with HDR, but it can't stream the same setting. It'll stream at 1080p standard color settings. So everything on my TV looks a lot richer, whereas on the video footage it looks a lot paler. You can really tell the difference between HDR and non-HDR. And I spent yesterday trying to get it as close to what it looked like on the TV as possible. I just couldn't get it. I got one colour to match, and then another colour would look off. Particularly greens. Greens, it doesn't seem to like. What I was going off of was like the green on the little profile pic or the online over there. It looks a lot deeper on HDR than non-HDR. But whatever. What you guys are seeing is pretty much what standard colouring is non-HDR. But HDR on my monitor, again, a lot richer, for lack of a better word. Colors are a lot deeper. Particularly here on the login screen now, it's a lot more noticeable on this screen. That's when I first noticed it. I've changed some stream settings as well. I've gone back into the advanced. Normally I went off Kusa settings because I had this problem, and it's probably still there, where no matter what settings I put it on, video would get all poopy when there's a lot of motion going on. And again, my PC and my internet's more than capable of handling it. But no matter what settings I put it on, I just couldn't get it to not do that. So like if I start moving the camera around now, it'll probably look a bit bleh. Not terrible, but yeah. Ah, haven't changed back, have I? Yeah. Why does that saw weapon of his look so shit? Is it meant to look like that? And it's meant to look like that. It looks like garbage. Um. Glasses D's. Oh, book. Boop. None. All garbage. All garbage. Or rather, I'm just dumping shit and I'll just run across here and sell it. Better than note. Oh, my gear needs repair. Not surprised after those couple of fights against Omega. Did it perfectly first try, they might have disconnected you in the cutscene after the fight. And then I got stuck with a group that just dipped the entire way through it. I'll be up for a bit, but I'm a sleepy. Because obviously, since I wasn't streaming yesterday, I was chilling watching How I Met Your Mother. So I had to sit and watch that again because there's fuck all else. Paying for Crunchyroll and there's pretty much not on there anymore because all the good shows have come to an end. Out of things to watch. Great. Hopefully, Squeenix take note of the bugs to this game, because I'm not the only one having these problems with the PS5. Like, there was a guy posted on the Final 14 forums that every time he has to log in on the PS5, he has to reapply the Rumble feature, because it just doesn't remember it. And I've made note that every time I log in, I have to reapply all these settings. Because it doesn't remember them. Same with mouse cursor. Mouse cursor I fixed on the login screen. But normally it forgets the size because I normally have it set to maximum because obviously, I mean, look at maximum, it's not exactly huge. And then when it resets it to normal every time you log out. But if you look, like as you saw there, the settings here for the names, I always have them set to initials. It remembers that setting there, but it doesn't actually have it applied when you log back in. So I have to come in and like do this and then hit apply to get it to take effect every time I log out and log back in. It just sets it back to showing full names again. Yeah, well, I was waiting for the engineer to come this morning. Leveled up my paladin a little bit. I only went up one level because I was using the trust system. I did like 3 runs of the first trust dungeon, which got some of my NPCs leveled up, and it got me to 73, ready for the next set of dungeons. But I need to level these up, because obviously I run with my paladin. They're all leveled. They're pretty much in a group for when I'm running as a DPS, and these are my group for when I'm running a tank. Must say, tanking, at least with Trust Dungeon, a bit easier with a controller, because obviously you just press up and down on the D-pad to cycle party members, and left and right to cycle through enemies. Where, I mean, at least for me anyway, on a keyboard, you've just got tab. I know there's all our buttons, but I just end up tab cycling, and it's a pain in the arse. But I was, like, backup healing with my paladin while tanking during the Trust Dungeon. Just practicing, basically, like, moving up and down the party list and cycling through the enemies based on which ones they were going for, because the NPCs don't give a shit who you target. They'll just go for a target and they'll attack that. So you've got to pay attention to what they're targeting and then target it. As a tank, if you run up, pull a bunch of things and then focus on something, they won't give a shit whatever you focus on. I know there's commands for the company NPCs, I think, but there doesn't seem to be any for the trust companions. They just programmed to do specific things. But I also like fixed my hotbars as well, because a lot of my hotbars were ruined since I've shifted over. That needs a couple of things added to it, but I've like got all the old inactive skills off of it. Same with my paladin. My dancer, I haven't even touched. It's got a lot of my skills on hotbar too, but that's not an active hotbar. I need to completely redo that, ready for Shadowbringers. Right, so we're done with Omega. Next part of the New Game Plus. So part 3 of Stormblood. Let's see, Stormblood Part 3. The liberation of Alamigo signals the end of an era of tyranny. Here on the cusp of a new age of freedom, her people must decide how they will greet their future and reconcile with their past. What path lies ahead for Lys and her efforts to rebuild the nation? What choices plague Geralda from within her prison cell? And to where will Raubon return, now that the dream for his homeland has at last become a reality? Adventure! Hooray! Right. Can't fly. Help. Arenvald's adventure. At least seems troubled.
Come to see how we're getting on?
Before I even carry on, I'm just going to double check my mic, because again, there's something else that my PC seems to forget settings of with the mic as well. It sometimes end up putting an echo on, so let's just double check. Mic monitor. Test. That. Right, cool.
We've made good progress since we took back Alamigo, but there's one big issue we still have to address. Leadership. The Domans had Lord Hien ready and willing to take the throne, but we've got no one like that here. Theodoric was our last ruler, and he wasn't called the Mad King for nothing.
Suffice it to say, our people have had their fill of kings, which means we need to find a new way forward.
If only it were that easy. Everyone and his uncle has an opinion. For the time being, we're just going to have to keep leaning on General Aldin and the Alliance for support, and see if we can't find a solution together. Something tells me we're going to be hosting a lot of meetings in the near future. But if that's what it takes, I'm ready to talk till my jaw aches. The Reach is yours, Nago. Don't do anything I wouldn't.
Aye, Commander.
There you are. I've been searching all over for you.
Yeah, right, mate.
Don't worry, it's nothing bad. That said, this might not be the best place to talk. Will you join me?
I'll be there in a minute. You crack on.
I'll get to the point. Might you be interested in a spot of adventure?
Adventure! Away!
After all, we were adventurous before we were scions, were we not? After routing the Imperials and liberating Alamigo, I reckon we've earned a bit of respite, don't you? And what better way to spend it than by returning to our roots? So, what say you? Shall we call on Alphino and go adventuring?
Twist my arm, why don't you? Adventure! Right then. Let's go and find Master Levelier. Actually, leave that to me. Aren't you fresh for our little adventure? Wait for us by the Aetherites, and we'll be along shortly. See you there. That's Bugatti Bolognese for my tea. It was nom nom nom. Delish. I've gone spaghetti bolognese crazy lately because it used to be a weekly thing in our family. We'll have it at least once a week. Now it's lasagna. Not that I've got anything against lasagna. I just prefer spaghetti bolognese. Da, 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 da. Waiting. Wanting. Da, 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 da. Greetings, Jasix. It would seem we are to accompany our involved on some manner of escapade. Any idea what we've gotten ourselves into? Allow me to explain. It'll be something of a history lesson, but I'll try to be brief. Or snoring, if you please. Now, the events I would speak of occurred before the occupation, back when Alamigo was still a monarchy and Theodoric sat the throne. Uniquely brutal despot, by all accounts. That he was. King of Ruin suffered no rivals, real or imagined. His disputes was the monks of the Fist, ended with Ralgar's Reach being burned to the ground. The latter years of his rule, he was seized by the unshakable belief that unseen forces were conspiring to steal his crown. So he ordered that every soul with claim to the throne be executed, including his own family. Wealth of the poor swords he put to death became the property of the king. It said that these royal treasures were hoarded somewhere in the palace. Thus was born the legend of the Mad King's Trove. Ah, I believe I see the direction our adventure is to take. I assume you have a mind to unearth this hidden bounty? You assume correctly. Would I also be correct in assuming that this legend is widely known? Others must surely have gone in search of your prize, tempting as it seems. Well, of course we won't be the first to make an attempt. Following Alamigo's liberation, more than a few eager soldiers turned the place upside down in hopes of claiming an easy fortune. But even after scouring every room from dawn till dusk, they uncovered not a single coin. Their gold lust drained away as quickly as it had come. The legend of the Mad King's Trove remained simply that, a legend. But I see you have no intention of letting the story end there. What self-respecting adventurer would? Imagine, 3 of us delving into a decades-old mystery. Tell me the thought of it doesn't set your heart to racing. You have learned the emote box. Yeah. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Do, do, do. The darkness below. You can almost see the wheels turning in Alphanor's head. The news of Doma and Alamigo's liberation has kindled the flames of revolution in every corner of the Empire. I hear the Imperial province of Dalmasca has already risen up in rebellion. Which means the Garleans must surely have their hands full. What better time than now to indulge in such a diversion? Tell us, Arenvald. Have we any clues as to where we might begin our search? Well, judging by how the other treasure hunters fared, nothing about the palace isn't like to get us anywhere, so we'll probably need to ask around. Would that be another way of saying no? Well, yes. I see. In that case, I shall pay a visit to the Allied archives and request access to the records seized from the Imperials. Garleans are meticulous about such things. They uncovered a trove during the occupation. The event is certain to have been recorded. In the meantime, two of you can track down those who worked as palace servants and officials in Theodoric's Deer. Given that there would have been at least 20 at the time, you'd be looking for people who have seen 40 summers or more. Anything they can tell you about the king and his bloody deeds may prove useful. Be sure to listen well. Arnvald, pray try a look in the fringes and the peaks whilst Jasix makes the rounds in Alamegan Quarter. Ha! And there I was thinking I was the party leader. Not that I mind, of course. Let's be about it, eh? We can meet afterwards at Gelbard's Gate. My eyes are like, go to sleep. Don't want to. Not late. I went to bed early yesterday, so got up stupid early. I want to go back to the map. At least that was a pain in the butt. That's probably the one awkward thing to use with the controller. Mainly because whenever I press it and then try to like zoom in and out, it doesn't let us because for some reason it automatically tabs to the chat box. Don't know why. In the palace? Nah, not me, lad. Raleigh heard the stories of the Mad King. Used to hold public executions upon the divine audience. Anyone, and I mean anyone, suspected of conspiring against the crown was flung from the top of those steps. Nice to say that I stayed as far away of the palace as possible. You want to hear an old maid's story, do you? Well, most of what I know of the Mad King is common knowledge. You'd only see his royal majesty when he deigned to attend the executions he ordered. After a while, even watching his enemies die wasn't enough to coax him out of hiding. He started seeing assassins in every shadow and wouldn't set foot outside the palace walls. I was offered work there as a royal servant once. Yeah, thought of it left me in a cold sweat. Da, 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 da. I served at the pleasure of King Theodoric. Lived to tell the tale. One of the palace guards I was. Truth be told, it was a dark chapter in my life, and one I'd sooner forget. Hardly a night went by when we didn't hear blood-curdling screams echoing from the inner chambers, which of course we were under orders to ignore. But we'd stand still as statues, trying not to imagine what horrors were unfolding within. If you're hell's bent on finding out what happened in the palace, down the street here and ask old Arnold. He was the king's head scribe. Yes, I'm Arnold. What do you want with me? Would have me dredge up some decidedly unsavory memories. Yet, if our amigo is to move forward, must needs acknowledge the misdeeds of the past. Very well, I shall tell you what I remember. I take it you know of Theodoric's paranoia and the public executions of his kinsmen. Those were terrible enough. But in his last days, the king's favored mind settled upon an even grislier method of disposal, which only a chosen few were unfortunate enough to witness. Majesty ordered the court thaumaturge to unleash a vile curse upon the remaining members of the royal family. Magic which transformed them into fiends of hideous aspect. Hey Lou, how you do? Monstrosities were then cast into the darkness below the palace. But now my sleep is troubled by nightmares. If others of Theodoric's blood were prone to share his madness, mayhap it is a kindness that the monarchy ended with him. It's all gone! I'm not completely bald. Just very short. It's all gone. But yes, had an engineer today. Came in. He ran tests on the socket at the wall, and within 30 minutes he was like, yeah, there's a problem somewhere on the line. I was like, I knew it. So his Vodafone was adamant there was nothing wrong. So he packed his bags and he was like, right, I've got to go out and do some fixing outside. I'll be back in a bit. 2.5 hours later, he comes back. Right, I've replaced all the cabling outside. Should be good as new. Should be fine now. Fingers crossed. Which has actually improved my download speed. I used to normally get a download speed of 54, now I'm getting 64. So it's gone up an extra 10. Hey. However, my uploads dropped from 15 that I normally get down to 12. But should be alright, hopefully, still for streaming. I only stream at 6, which is the recommended. But touch wood, it's all fixed. And I've also noticed Vodafone has a new router. I'm guessing you've got the same router as me. But yeah, there's a newer router. Does your... In fact, I'll find a picture. Be quicker that way. Why is that in my head? Copy image. Fuck. View image. Right, there we go. Does your router look like that? No? Does it look like that? Oh, God damn it, you got the new one? Boo! That's the new router. I've got the old one, poopy one, and they refuse to send us the new one because they're saying there's nothing wrong with it, even though it's obsolete, and that one, the new one, outperforms it. They're just like, nah, we're not sending it. Yeah, we've had our router for years. Years and years. It is old and outdated, and they refuse to send with the new one because they're saying, there's no matter with it. The math is not matter with it. You've got a newer model. Mine's outdated. Give me the new one. Damn it. Oh yeah, we've had a replacement as well. Ours broke like, I don't know, 3 years ago. 2-3 years ago, something like that. 2-3 years ago, they sent with a new one. They were like, oh, your router's outdated. We'll send you a new one. And they sent with the exact same router. Alright, since we're all here, why don't we share what we've learned? Allow me to begin then. As promised, I scoured the Imperial records for any mention of fantastic treasures and found precisely none. It is just possible, I suppose, that a corrupt official deliberately hid the fact of the trove's discovery, hoping to enrich himself. I find it rather unlikely that so valuable a find would stay secret for long. I conclude that our prize either does not exist, or that the Imperials somehow overlooked it. What of you, Jasix? Are your investigations any more fruitful? Turned into monsters? What could he mean by this darkness beneath the palace, I wonder? I met an old man in Alagiri who spoke of the palace's subterranean prison. But he said naught of cursed abominations. Imperial archives were also silent on the subject of fiends inside the palace grounds. This scribe fellow have been spinning him a yarn, do you think? Did you believe him, Jasix? His fears seemed genuine. If he was... Problem is, I'm tired because obviously I didn't stream yesterday. I decided to just lie on the couch and watch How I Met Your Mother. Lack all else to watch. And I fell asleep at like 10 o'clock. And then I got up at like 6, 7-ish. Yeah, it was like 10 past 6 I got up. Yeah. But I'm tired. If he was afraid, that does lend credence to the tale. I'm not sure how that helps us in our search. Do not be so hasty. Arnold's anecdote may very well have told us where the trove is hidden. But ere I share my theory, there is a matter I would clarify. It was your day off yesterday? Went to bed at 1 in the morning, was up at 7. Yeah, I'm a light sleeper. That's a problem with me though. Like, quite often the slightest noise and I'll just wake up. I've been like that since I was a kid. I've always been a very light sleeper. Whereas Meanie, on the other hand, he just sleeps like a brick. Right. Arnvald, you spoke of light-hearted adventure. I sense a deeper motive for this expedition. Why are you so intent on finding this treasure? It wasn't all pretense, I swear it. But you're right. My father was in the Imperial Army. Man of Garlean blood. Trust you know what I mean when I say my Alamegan mother did not welcome my arrival. As I grew, she would check my brow over and over, convinced that a spot on my skin was an emerging third eye. Like the kind you see in pure-blood Garleans. Well, I did not care for this taunting reminder of my heritage and took up a knife. Warpaint serves to cover the scar. Well, I gouged out his third eye. In the end, turned me out into the streets, and I was left onto the alleyways of Alamigo. A feral child who got what he needed through begging, cunning, or worse. Best I could say about the years that followed is that I survived. I hated the animal I'd become. Eventually I left the city behind me and I joined a group of refugees bound for the other side of the wall. It was then that I turned to adventuring. That road led me into the company of the Scions. I tell you this so that you understand. I know all too well what poverty and hunger can do to a person. I drew steel on ordinary folk for a measly crust of bread. Theodric's gold could spare my countrymen the shame of living like that. Thank you, Arnvald, and I apologise. I cannot have been pleasant to recall, but I felt it best to be clear in our intentions. Well, Jasix, are you content to surrender the treasure to Arnvald's noble cause? Claim the thrill of adventure as your reward? No, give me the money, I'm poor. I've got 80k to my name. Give me the money. At least some of it. Then I should be glad to tell you my theory on the resting place of the Mad King's Trove, if you're minded to hear it. Combat and drinking flavoured water instead of pop. Right. I'm pleased I finished the Omega raid because now I can just crack on with the campaign. It seems it's the raids that are going to be taking the longer times to get done. I mean, how many dungeons is this through the content of a Stormblood patch? Like dungeons that you have to do, not the optional ones. Quite a few dungeons, but again, I don't know which ones are optional. Don't think Temple of the Fist was optional. I think that's basically where we're going now on this treasure hunt. I think Hell's Lid's optional. The burn isn't. That isn't. Well, out with it. What's this theory of yours? The Mad King's Trove. Oh no, we're going straight to... Ah, I thought Temple of the Fist was where we were going to go. Never mind. Alvanor seems eager to share his theory. Actually, mayhap it would be better if we first adjourned at a more suitable location. In case a rival treasure hunter overhears our plans, you mean? Good thinking. That was not exactly the reason, but certainly a valid concern. Let us reconvene on the southern edge of Loch Seld. I never thought the day had come when these gates were open to all. Oh, you wish to pass through? Yes, I do. Getting there, Lou. We're getting there. I don't think the Stormblood patch content's very long. Going to the Mad King's Trove. Yeah, I think I'll probably be done with this in 2 sittings. I'll probably be done with it tomorrow. If I have a long day of it. Not be as a long day of it today, because obviously I started streaming a bit late because the engineer fixing the internet. Forgive me. It was not my intention to draw out proceedings. I simply wish to have the locks in sight while I explain things. Ah, yeah, the entrance is beneath the locks. I remember when you finished Stormblood, there was this long tunnel underneath. Besides the one that you go through at the end of the story. And we knew that was probably going to be a dungeon. Prior to the Great Flood of the 6th Umbral Calamity, salt lakes you see before you were yet dry ravines. This, believe it or not, was the site of the ancient city of Scala, which rose and fell during the 5th Astral Era. From what we know from prior, the city was already deserted by the time the waters began to rise, having been all but destroyed by war. Yet its ruins remain to this day at the bottom of the Loch Seld. It is my belief that the darkness beneath the palace, mentioned by Theodoric's former scribe, was not a reference to the prison, but to the place still further below, the ruins of Scala. Further surmise that the Mad King's unfortunate kinsmen were cast down there not simply out of a desire to punish them, but to discourage exploration. Theodoric wanted to keep the ruins secure. Wait, you're saying you were meant to guard the Mad King's Trove? Precisely. And since we know the court Thaumaturge was involved, we can safely assume that any entrance into the old city will have been magically concealed. Will explain how a legion of Imperial soldiers, the gods know how many Alamegans, never found a trace of the trove. We, however, have certain advantages which they did not enjoy. Jasix, would you be so good as to swim down the bottom of the locks and search for an underwater route into the ruins? While you do that, Arnvald and I will seek out ensorcelled portal within the palace. That's right, you guys go off and do nothing while I go for a swim. All the way at the bottom, I can't remember. Sure, these markers over here were just to the entrance of where the story-based dungeon was. Oh, maybe not. Unless the change based on your progress. You discover a passage that appears to lead under the palace foundations. Press on and find out where it goes. Hopefully they'll patch the issues that the PS5 version of this has. There's issues where it doesn't remember some of the settings. Like it doesn't remember party settings and how you want names to be displayed. Every time you log back in, it puts it so it displays the full names again. Same with the mouse cursor, like I've got it set to maximum there. But when I log out, it resets it back to normal, which is tiny on 4K. Not major problems, but annoying. You come to a one stone door standing temporarily ajar. It would appear you found an entrance into a subterranean ruin. Or into subterranean ruins. Jasix, it's Alphino. Searched the prison beneath the palace and found a door concealed by enchantments. Enchantment? Have you aught to report? That's my report. And you believe it leads into the ruins? Excellent. And I propose we proceed from our respective entry points and look to meet somewhere in the middle. Oh, come on, lads. You might as well make it a race. Victory goes to the first adventurer to find the treasure. Godspeed. What's Lou up to? Oh god, my eyes, stop. Sleepy. Ah. Da, 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 da. Do, do, be, do. Da, da, da. Da, da. Do, do, do. I need to come up with something new. I say nanny far too much. Anything where I'm not sure, and I literally just always go, nanny? Become a habit. Just start saying, you what, mate? You fucking what? Fucking have you? Can I just solo this? Probably not. I think I'm at that stage now where I can't solo them anymore. At least not with a DPS. Probably could with a tank. Stop yawning. Yeah, what's Lou up to today? How goes? What's going on in the gaming world today as well? Yeah. Baldur's Gate 2 and Icewind get a big update. Ooh. Rockstar issues surprise updates for Alien Noir and Max Payne 3 on PC. Throws in all the DLC for free. Damn. It's a shame the VR version of that's not the full game. Never did finish that because it kept overheating my PS3 at the time. My original chunk. The devs for Alien Noir and Max Payne 3 have released free update to the PC version, and it includes all the DLC. So if you've never played Alien Noir, pretty good investigation. Yeah, you pretty much work as a street cop at first, and then you like work your way up through the ranks as a investigator, solving murders and that by examining the bodies, and it's set out in sort of like a GTA style or Mafia style. I might buy the VR version and just give it a go. It's like a shortened down version of the actual proper game. As far as I'm aware, anyway. Unless they changed it. Is LA Noire VR the full game? LA Noire, the VR case files, is also available, blah blah blah. Features the complete original game and all downloadable content. Wait, what? Is it the actual full game? I thought it was just a taster, unless it got a... Oh, can it be because someone's got a video on YouTube that was only 4 hours long? It's definitely not the full game. The VR cases is a whistle-stop tour of the full game, breaking up the story of Cole Phelps and his meteoric rise as a detective. So yeah, it's a shortened version of the game. Ah, man. Q Dames. Come on. Just gotta get through Stormblood and then I can trust system the rest of the way. Damn, that Sprout that I was playing with earlier is blasting through the game. The Shadowbringers content now. Seems addicted as Quantum. I say that I think Quantum's burnt himself out. I mean, I've managed a new game plus my way through everything to this point, and I'm still going. But it's less of a grind through the new game plus, because obviously I've already unlocked flying, and I'm at a higher level with better gear. Why does the visuals look weird? Morning Bliss. I think she never. She just never turns the game off. She just leaves it on until my brother comes home. Bow, 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 wow, wow, wow. So that samurai's not doing any AoEs. I mean, it's got 4 AoEs. 5, sorry. Including your special. Alright, don't get knocked off the sides. I remember things as I go. God, Sprout. Fuck it. I'll take a page from Lou. Everything sells. I'm poor. I think it's reset my target and everything as well, so it's Still targeting my party members. Oh, tank's getting a bit keen. Doodle doo. I had no hotbar there. Good job they could do it. I had no pen hotbar abilities. How do you drop things? Help. It's me a bit of money. Whoops. That's not what I meant to do. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah. Give me that Mad King's boot. That's some insane hair. Barf. Alright, dollars. Towards the end there. Ah, sad phase. Na, 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 na. No accommodation. I was top dog. Better than that last Sam.
Oh, bugger it.
Over it.
Are you all right? Aye. Aye. Everything's still attached.
Ah, it seems both our paths led here. Very good.
Bet yours was easier than mine.
We spent altogether too much time fleeing fiends horrid and numerous. How fared you?
Kick the crap out of some mages in that. That hair. Look at it.
Much the same, then. 'Twould appear this place is yet inhabited by King Theodoric's kin, or what is left of them. The work of terrible magics, I fear.
Terrible, aye. But their misfortune is our fortune?
Quite. By the 12, there is even more than I imagined.
Everything running alright, guys?
Oh, I can't wait to see the look on Lisa's face. Thanks for believing in me, you two.
Arvald and I forged ahead at the fastest pace we could manage. Not surprised to find you waiting for us. I suppose it serves us right for challenging the Warrior of Light. Next time we should agree on some manner of handicap. I was going to say, Alphonor, you are my handicap, but a bit mean. We may have lost, Alphonor. Think of what we found. Right. I'm still reeling at the sight of that mountain of riches. What? Like how you reeled at the sight of that floating spectre, you mean? You should have heard him scream, Jasix. Must we dwell on such momentary lapses? We found the Mad King's trove, and that is all that matters. The butcher's blood. All jesting aside, we must tell people the good news. I think Lise should be the first. Seconded. There is to be a meeting of representatives from across Alamigo. Well, she is sure to be in the city. Seek her out? Yeah, if I remember, because there's a meeting to decide the fate of a certain somebody. Da, 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 da. I'll get that high. Oh, you look pleased with yourselves. What have you been up to? Glad you asked, Lise. And I'm pretty sure you're going to like the answer. You're joking. The Mad King's trove? Thought it was a myth. Thought of plenty of people. But they didn't have Jasix and Alphonor there in their party. Credit for finding it should really go to them. As for what to do with it all, I vote that we go toward that it goes towards alleviating the suffering of Alamigo's poor. Gods, there is much as you, if there's as much as you say. Our rival did not aggravate, I assure you. Exaggerate. Do not hope to carry even a fraction of it out on our own. I've taken the liberty of sketching out a rough map of the ruins. You will assemble a squad of your most trusted freedom fighters. You should be able to follow the route there to where the treasure lies. Understood. Make sure every coin is accounted for. That goes for the spending of it as well. Thank you. Ah, there's one other thing. When the time comes to draw a plan for distributing the spoils, I would ask you to consult Alphino. I don't have a head for details. I'm not educated. I see that simply handing out sacks of gil won't solve everything, but I couldn't rightly tell you what to do instead. Oh, I know the feeling. I'd welcome any advice you could give us, Alphino. Of course, I shall be at your disposal. Commander, we've got a problem. Deep breaths. Tell me what's happened. The mob's gathered outside headquarters. Started making demands. Best come and see for yourself.
Step back, all of you!
Get back!
Like hells we will! We know who you've got in there!
We're not leaving till you hand her over!
Bring her out! Bring her out!
What's going on?
Someone let slip about Fedora.
It's true then! The bitch really is in there! I knew it! I bloody knew it! We demand vengeance! Bring her out! Today we butcher the butcher!
Come on, you don't mean that! We'd be no better than the Imperials if you'd all just calm down!
Calm down! That monster and her thrice damned skulls dragged my man from our home and beat him to death in the street!
Aye, and my dad! That bitch has spilt enough blood to fill a lock!
We all know her crimes. She's a traitor and a murderer. How many of your resistance friends have died at her hands, eh? And here you are, protecting her!
So that's what all the fuss is about.
Ooh, he has rub on.
Hearken to me, brothers and sisters of Alamigo.
Hey, who's this?
That's the Bull of Alamigo.
My friends, you are not alone in your anger, your grief, your despair, for it is mine as well. That gnawing pain in your breast, it is enough to bring an old bull to his knees. But I ask you, brothers and sisters, to think not only of the family and friends who were cut down before your very eyes, but to think also of the ones who were abducted, the ones who may yet live.
Stop yawning.
Where were they taken? What became of them? These questions demand answers. I share your thirst for justice, for vengeance. But we will gain only fleeting satisfaction if we give in to our base appetites. We will never know the truth. Now is the time that we, the people of Alamigo, must decide what manner of nation we will build for ourselves and for generations yet unborn. When they look to our example, will they see a people who held fast to their principles, or one who cast them aside when tried? I say to you, it is our responsibility to give these prisoners a fair trial, that they might answer to all of Alamigo. The Garleans called us savages, and I'll be damned if we prove them right.
I know you're right, I do, but I can't.
Thought we were going to get a meanwhile moment there. Uh-oh. The internet alright, guys? We all good? Watch, even with the new cable, it'll still conk out. I think we're alright. Random drop. There's only a few frames. Do. My thanks, Rabban. Listening to that anger, I could feel myself being swept away. It's a difficult tide to stem. It's that same rage which brought us to our feet, carried us to victory. Now the war is over, and the unspent fury is being channeled into vengeance. Aye, it's not just here. We have reports of mobs forming all over. Been targeting folk known to have cooperated with the Garleans. Starts with insults most often. Then someone picks up a stone. Some industrious souls even thought to seek out the graves of Xenos and his officers. It was grim. I remember what happened. I remember the twist of this. I wanted to build a country where everyone, regardless of race or origin, can live side by side in peace. Maybe the time isn't right. Maybe people just aren't ready. That doesn't mean I'm not going to try. Representatives will be here soon. I'll be damned if I'm going to give up before I've even begun. Who are these representatives exactly? Oh, village elders, refugee leaders and the like. Wouldn't be right for us to dictate the nation's future on our own. We planned a summit of sorts. We've even invited the Anata and the Kukirin to participate. Alamigo stands at a crossroads. This meeting will decide which path it takes. But our Feralda's sentence cannot be suffered to disrupt proceedings. Let's execute her and be done with it. She herself asked to be put to death. Nagor, I already explained why we wouldn't do that. Sending her to the gallows might satisfy people right now. Where would it end? Till we round up everyone who collaborated? And everyone who didn't resist? There would be no one left. It would be no better than Theodoric and Xenos. Begging your pardon, but might I be allowed to speak with Feralda? Only I caught a glimpse of her past, a moment of it anyway, during the fight. She's done terrible things, aye, unforgivable things, but in some ways, she's a victim of the circumstances in which she was born. That's something I can understand. Alright, speak with the prison guard when you're ready. And I'll come and join you. I want to talk to her too. I'll return to my other duties then. Barely begun to investigate the facilities where they gave Feralda her powers. Be fairly warned, friends. She will test you. Don't let your emotions cloud your judgment when she does. I should be back in a second. I'm going to go grab this rug from downstairs. I completely forgot about it. Got a rug downstairs to put on the floor here so I can stop rolling all over the place. Aha! Ha ha ha! That a bit? This will be better for VR as well. Stand on the... Well, that's my guitar. Ah, it's much better. And the chair cannot move a muscle unless I move it. Much better. And like I said, when I'm doing VR, I'll have a soft rug to stand on. I have to put trainers on when I'm doing VR because standing for a prolonged time on the hardwood floor gets very uncomfortable on the feet. Yes, it can't move unless I force it to move. Much better. Yes. I used to have a rug. I had a Union Jack rug. Someone thought it would be a good idea to put it in the washer, and then all the red dye in the Union Jack bled over into all the other colours and ruined it. I got Union Jack pillar. I had Union Jack pillars, blanket, and rug and everything. And curtains. Curtains and the rug both got ruined. Because someone thought it would be a good idea to put a rug in the washer. Not me. Ooh, put that a bit. That'll wake us up a bit. Alright. You have the commander's permission to enter them. Copy. Sure, Windows has increased my camera size again. It's forgetting my setting where I shrank it. Sharp tail when I check where the chat boxes are in this game.
Well, well, well. So many visitors. Come to have a good laugh, have you? Or do you mean to put me out of my misery? To finish what you started? It's about bloody time.
That's not why we're here, no. Do you remember what I said? How I promised you you'd live long enough to see us win our freedom? Well, I meant it. And not to mock you either.
You're wasting your time. All of this is pointless! There's no reason to keep me alive, and you know it! I killed your men. I killed my men! And you know what my only regret is? That I didn't kill you when I had the chance!
That's a lie, and you know it. You think we can't tell what you're trying to do? That we're blind? Yeah, you're a fool, but you're not stupid. You're ruthless. Relentless. You'd give up anything and everything to get what you want. You didn't come this far, climbing over the bodies of your own brothers and sisters just to piss it all away. I see you, Fedora. I see you for what you are.
My turn to see. Dear Fedora.
Fadola, we mustn't be late. The Imperial Viceroy will be attending today's banquet.
All right. Father, what's Lord Gaius like? Is he nice? Are you friends?
There you go again with all your questions. Lord Gaius is a great and honourable man who looks after all of Alamigo. He's very busy, and if we don't hurry, we'll miss our chance to see him.
Filthy tin-head lovers.
Father, what did that man call us?
The little tin-head lover doesn't know what she is, eh? A traitor, sweetheart. A backstabbing bitch who'd gladly betray her kith and kin to gnaw on what few scraps the Imperials deign to toss her. Like your bastard father and whore mother.
That's not true! My parents are good people! They've never done anything like that!
Oh, but they were quick to help themselves and their bitch spawn, weren't they? You're just as guilty as them.
Fadola!
Traitors!
Please, you have to do something. My husband and daughter are in danger.
Soldiers of the Imperial Army are under no obligation to intervene in the disputes of arm.
We're citizens. We have rights.
I'm scared.
It's all right. It's all right. They don't understand, but they'll see in time. They'll see that this is the only way to survive. Traitors! Traitors!
Let the savages have their fun. They'll be more compliant once they've tired themselves out.
Fadola, please. You already have citizenship. Why would you want to become a soldier? Oh, gods. What have you done to your face?
Forgotten it already, have you? I'm honouring Father's memory.
By telling the world that you know better than a common savage.
Am I though, Mother? Are any of us? Can't you see? Citizenship means nothing to them. If you're not a pure-blood Garlean, you're no different from any other savage. So I'll play the part. I'll join the Legion and I'll make them respect me. And when the mob see that, they'll think twice before throwing their stones. Ansfrid, Rudolph, Emlyn. It's time. It'll be hard. Humiliating. They'll try to break us. Send us crawling back to our own kind. But we won't, no matter what. We'll bleed for them, die for them if we have to. We'll do whatever it takes to be free!
Oh boy.
So, you mean to play the part one last time, eh? The unrepentant traitor whose death will serve to unite the people?
Shut up.
You had every chance to kill yourself. Fashion a noose from your clothes. Wait for the guards to leave you alone long enough to slip it over your neck.
I said shut up!
Oh, but then it would have all been for nothing, wouldn't it? Whatever it takes. That's what you said.
Been in my head, have you? Had a little peek at my past? And what? A few stolen memories tell you everything you need to know, do they? Don't you dare patronize me! You don't know a goddamn thing about the life I've led! The bastards that killed him. The bastards that let it happen. My father deserved better! I swore I'd do whatever it took to make them pay!
Now for you to have a peek at the life I've led.
You. All that power. All that pain. It's too much. Too much for anyone.
The colouring on the capture card is very weird. Like I said, on my TV, it's playing with HDR on. For some reason, this game supports HDR. But the capture footage only outputs in standard colour. And normally it looks washed out, but I'm looking at her hair on the feed compared to my TV, and it looks more vibrant on the feed than it does on my TV. And normally it's the other way around. I think it's certain colours look washed out and other colours look more vibrant. Like greens and blues look washed out, whereas reds, yellows and that look more vibrant. Weird. That's why I can't get like the right balance. I was trying to match the footage to the colouring of my TV, because obviously the footage doesn't do HDR, it just outputs its standard colour for 1080p. But yeah, our hair looks a lot more vibrant compared to what I'm seeing. Whereas blues and greens and that look more vibrant on what I see versus what you guys see. So it's hard to get the balance with like the video encoders and the color settings and everything.
they've done to you. The lies, the betrayal, the endless fighting. Yet there you stand, unbroken. How? Why?
For those I've lost, for those I can yet save.
Damn you. Damn you all.
You still have time, Fordola. Think about how you want to spend it. Let's go.
Oh boy. Do do be do do be do. Echoes of an echo. Lys is lost in thought. I don't know that we solved anything exactly. We've given Fordola something to think about at least. Aye, and I found something new to think about too. I don't know about you, Jasix. The visions only come to me every now and then. And the way Fordola kept wincing though, I get the feeling she's having them almost all the time. That's a lot of bad memories to deal with. I wonder, would there be some fundamental difference between one who was born with the echo and one who has been artificially imbued with it? Well, the immortal flames have been scouring the research facility ever since the liberation. Chance they might have some answers for us. General Alden's there overseeing the investigation. Let's go and pay him a visit, shall we? I don't want to run around. I'm gonna fly over it all. You run around, I run around. General Alden's inside eye. You'll be joining him? Lou, out of curiosity, if you're there. Are you there? Are you good? Are you here? Are you? Lou, where are you? Our dungeon. What news? Spoke with Fadala, I take it? Yes, as expected, she didn't say very much. Wasn't a total waste of time. I've noticed something odd about her. Thinks she might be having visions almost constantly. It's not how the echo normally works. Have you found anything here which might explain why it's so different for her? Huh. You've been hard pressed just to organize the research materials, let alone study them. To be frank, welcome the Scion's expert assistance if you have the time to lend a hand. Bring whatever you discover to me. I'll put all our findings together. These bastards would fiddle with the man's very soul if it served their purpose. Nothing is sacred to them. Oh yeah, let's check my settings. Oh no, they're fine. So many bodies. Every one of them a victim of these experiments. Few show any signs of external injury. And what we're being able to determine perished from forcible ether extraction. Such a miserable way to die. Doo-doo-doo. For a race with no innate capacity to manipulate ether, Guardians have conducted some exceedingly elaborate etheric experiments. Where's Lise? Idle conversation prohibited. Eating and drinking prohibited. Fallen scrap of parchment appears to list facility regulations, but nothing of any interest. Leave this section to me. Yeah. All these pods are designed to drain the ether of the occupant. Save that one right there. Like the others, the interior has been fitted with an array of sensors to measure etheric waveforms. What purpose? However, I couldn't tell you. Next door party and us. Starting a chat breaking in. The device in which Kryl was held seems even more ominous now you know its purpose. Surrounding pods are marked Supply Subject. Well, this one bears the label Master Subject. The Ironworks received a request from the Alliance to analyze these devices. I've been recording everything of interest. Notice the labeling? All the pods are designed to drain the ether of the occupant. Save that one right there. Like the others, the interior is fitted with an array of sensors to measure etheric waveforms. What purpose, however, I couldn't tell you. And repeat. God. Like, it's impossible to move on this carpet with... The wheels don't like being on this rug. But it's better than us rolling away. I know a little and less of science, so any light you can shed on this facility's operations would be much appreciated. Jasix, shall we start with you? Taken in combination with the testimonies of Kryl and Thancred, I do begin to see exactly what the Imperials were attempting here. The enhancement procedure entailed infusing a single candidate ether siphoned from a multitude of supply subjects. As for the master subject, in this case Kryl, the patterns of her etheric activity would provide the model upon which they would artificially engineer the candidate's aura. In other words, they were trying to recreate Kryl's echo? I believe so. This would explain our prisoner's present state. Kryl is possessed of an unrivaled ability to hear the whispers of the soul. It seems probable that the procedure engendered the same acute sensitivity in Vordola. Soldiers who guarded Vordola, many of them lost friends and family to the skulls. There's a sentry at the door night and day. If she can't help sensing her thoughts, seeing their past, but you don't just see their past, you live it. All the emotions, all the pain. Imagine what it'd do to you. You'd never be the same again. Indeed, as you may recall, Zayli was completely transformed by a single glimpse of Race Velgar's past. Adala has been forced to experience the agony of those whose lives she destroyed. Guilt must be unbearable. That explains her request to be executed. Sounds to me like a kind of justice. Regardless, she can suffer on for now. We have more pressing matters to consider. The results of these experiments have been relayed back to Garlemald. Maybe not to stop the Empire from repeating the trick. Could give the echo to anyone, to an entire legion. We must be ready. We must learn all we can of these godforsaken procedures. If Adala remains our best source of information, we'll not be getting her wish. Not yet. Right. Keep faith, lass. Keep faith, lass. If you're to convince others to follow you, you must believe what you're telling them. People will respond to passion, but not if it's feigned. I understand. Thank you, General. We should leave the flames to it. Let's go. Go looking for answers about the Echo and end up getting schooled by Raban. Yet more evidence that I don't know what I'm doing. No wonder people listen to him and not me. General Alden is a veteran of countless campaigns, Lise. You cannot compare yourself to a commander of his experience. I know, but I also know that I couldn't have convinced that mob to give up and go home. Makes me realize how much we rely on his authority, how much I still have to learn. Wonder what he'll do when everything here is settled. I mean, it's his homeland. They're going to the trouble of winning it back. Why do you not want to stay? It's a quandary which countless refugees now face. Continue the life they built in Uldar, or start again in the land of their birth. Jasix, a moment. I am newly returned from Uldar, with a message from the Sultana. Her Grace desires an audience with you. She understands that you have responsibilities here, but asks that you visit her place at your earliest convenience. Well, I must away and attend to other business. Until next time, my friends. An audience with the Sultana. Depending on the nature of her consultation, this might be the perfect opportunity to inquire about the General's future plans. Yes, we'd all like to know about those. Alpha no. But not everyone's as comfortable interrogating royalty as you. Take no notice of him, Jasix. What? The Sultana strings. Alphinaud's thoughts appear to have turned from adventure to administration. Well, the question of how to put the Mad King's treasure to good use shows no sign of answering itself. There will be about it, Arenvald. I am at your beck and call. And I should be getting back to my own tasks. I organized the squad to head down to the ruins and then start preparing for the big meeting. Oh, send Nanomama my regards, Jasix. And ours too, if you please. We shall see you on your return. Nearly went in the wrong place. Do, 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 do. Da, 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 da. That's a lot of dudes. My lord, it was an honor to face you in the tournament. Since that day I've spent my every spare moment in the practice yard, striving to attain some fraction of your skill with the blade. Ah, forgive me. You're here for your audience with the Sultana. Please, proceed.
I thank you for answering my summons in these most interesting times. You have been busy. The liberation of Alamigo will have far-reaching consequences, and there is a matter upon which I would seek your counsel. I speak of Rauban and his future. All know the tale of his rise from penniless refugee to member of the Syndicate and General of the Immortal Flames. Yet though he has come to call Uldar home, it will never be his homeland. He is a son of Alamigo. And now that she is free, I thought it only a matter of time before he sought my leave to return to her. Indeed, I had resigned myself to his loss. Suffice it to say, I was greatly surprised to hear him speak so lightly of handing over the reins in Alamigo and retaking his place at my side. I will welcome him with open arms, of course. He is my most trusted advisor and my dearest friend. But I have known the man a long time, and beneath that steely gaze, I spied a flicker of doubt.
Pouty face.
Whether Rauban chooses to remain in Uldar or return to Alamigo, I only wish that he do so with a heart unburdened by guilt or regret. Yet, how can he freely make such a choice, knowing how much I depend on him? It is past time that I learned to discharge my duties as a Sultana alone. I must go forth and see my realm with my own eyes, and hear the wind with my own ears.
It's like the first day we met. How we're going to go on an adventure?
Might I have your company for a brief adventure?
Yeah. This is how it all began when we first came to Uldar.
Wonderful. Allow me a moment to change into something a touch less conspicuous, and I will join you outside.
Yeah, be good. Da, 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 da. Ow. Do, 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 do. It's bright. Even on my screen, bright. A chance you remember Lilira, the merchant's daughter? This is the persona I assume when I venture beyond the palace walls to observe my subjects unnoticed. Ordinarily, Papa-san would accompany me. For this particular outing, I need an advisor, not a minder. That is why I request your company. In the course of your many adventures, you have met people from all walks of life, in every corner of Eorzea, and I would make use of your worldly experience. Now, let us be on our way. Our first destination is Stone's Throw, just beyond the gates of Nald. The only way is up. This does nothing. I've noticed that as well. I don't know if it's a problem with the PS5 version of it, but the gamma slider does jack shit. You could turn that up and down all day long and it don't do diddly squat. Look. Oh, wait, actually. Alright, okay. It's minute. It is so minute. Hopefully that's a bit better. Da, 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 da. Yeah. Look upon this procession of tattered tents. These refugees camp in squalor at the mercy of the elements and Thanaland's predators both. The city's mighty walls offer safety. The streets overflow with people as it is, and unless blessed by the hand of Nald himself, no refugee could ever hope to afford a dwelling in Uldar. 20 years have passed since the fall of Alamigo, and 5 since the calamity. The plight of the poor has grown more desperate, not less. As Sultana, the blame falls upon me. You have done your best, Your Grace. And my best has not been good enough. Shall we press on? I would follow the road to the unholy air. Na, 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 da, 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 da. Here we are, where the first event in the game originally was. Everyone queuing up on this hill during the beta or the alpha, as the game just couldn't handle that many people trying to do the event. Because the beta limited everyone within Uldar, if I remember correctly. You could go near the entrance. Actually, no, it didn't, did it? I can't remember, did it? I'm sure it limited it between Gridania and Uldar. Unless was that the PS3 beta? I remember the PS3 beta, everyone was like queuing up on this hill. Yeah, I think the PS3 beta had people in Uldar. It was the original PC Realm Reborn where it was in Gridania. And you were limited the amount of areas you could zone to. It's been a long time. was here in the holy, unremarkable place that my mother and father met their doom. I was but a child at the time. Parents were returning from an inspection of our interests in Eastern Thanalan, and an untimely rock slide crushed their carriage. To this day, it is not certain if the incident was simple misfortune or an expertly planned assassination. Our barn once offered to reopen the investigation and bring me the truth he assumed I must surely crave. I refused. Even if my parents' deaths were orchestrated by monetarists, they could only have brought their hirelings to justice. True villains, those who plotted to put me on the throne as a biddable puppet, were ever beyond our reach. Thus did I plan to strip the monarchists of their power and place our nation in the hands of its citizens, quite unaware of the consequences my actions would have for you and yours. I shudder to think how many godly souls paid the price for my naivety. I am no longer a child reciting words with witless obedience, and I will not be used as a pawn in the monetarists' damnable games. Forgive me for my outburst. You are one of the few people to whom I feel I can speak my mind. Come, let us return to Uldar and visit the Colosseum. And so cool at the minute, so you can fly in the old areas. Yeah, it's funny because originally they were like, "Oh, we can't do it because the maps just aren't designed for it." That's just because it couldn't be asked. But I'm guessing people badgered them enough that they decided, "Ah, fine, we'll do it." I mean, I don't know. It might have legitimately been because there was like just nothing, like void just off in the distance that they didn't want you seeing, so they had to like tweak some things and add mountains here and there, and God knows. Or again, it was just a case of they couldn't be asked originally, so they got tested enough. Do, 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 do. Da, da, da. That's not right. Come on, man, stupid camera sets. Oh, my eyes, I need to go splash some water. My eyes are just lead weight. Yeah, it's because I went to bed early last night and my body's just like, go to bed! That's a bit better. Turn the brightness down a bit on my camera because I've noticed when I'm like sitting back and the light shining off my almost bald head, it's a bit hard to see. I'm gonna splash some water on my face. Back in a second. How's that guy doing? He keeps just running back and forth. He's gone out into the big world. A Sprout! That'll probably play to the end of Heaven's Word and then not play. I noticed that. Like I said, I did about the first half of Realm Reborn through Duty Finder, or the first quarter or so, before I thought, hang on, I could probably just solo these. And then I just started soloing them. But yeah, queue times were just instant. Barely had to wait. And then in Heaven's Word again, barely had to wait. But again, I soloed the vast majority of Heaven's Word. And then I hit Stormblood, and the queue times have just gone. There's not a high it seems like there's not a high number of people that's playing the free version or continuing on beyond that. Updated Lord of the Rings Online today. Funny, the MMO Lord of the Rings that Amazon's working on just got cancelled. They gave up on it for some reason. I didn't read the article, I just saw the title saying that Amazon's cancelled it. Yeah, they were working on an MMO to go alongside the TV series that they were working on. Anyway, back in a second. It's request, then logged off. Sounds like Quantum. That's what Quantum does with Final now. He logs on, does his dailies, then logs off. Even though he's not done Shadowbringers yet. Or the patch content of Stormblood. He's burned out. Whereas me, I'm quite content. I'm enjoying just playing through the story again. I mean, I'm looking forward to playing something else. Like, I'm planning on playing a Mass Effect 3, Mass Effect trilogy next. Because that comes out next month. I'm planning on playing that. Like, no, I don't want to wake myself up. I'll just soldier on, because I'm not going to be streaming for a whole lot longer. I want to just get into bed and just go, eh. I'll get up sharp. I've got to redo my CV. It's funny, because the last... I thought my CV was alright, and the last job coach that I spoke with, he was like, oh, your CV's excellent. Not mad with it. And then the new one that I've been given, he's like, oh, you need to change the summary at the start of it. Do it again. Whereas my advisor at the job centre and my first job coach, they were both like, not mad with it. Perfectly fine. Yeah. Whatever. We'll follow their lead. For now. If it gets us a job, then happy days. Yeah, where have I got to go? Coliseum. Gladiators? Can't remember. Yeah. From the moment I became Sultana, I found myself thrust into an endless parade of document signing and ceremonies. For years, I simply signed where I was told to sign, and sat where I was told to sit, blissfully oblivious to what any of it meant. Yet one good thing did come from that ignominious chapter in my life. For it was during an official visit to the Colosseum that I first met Rauban. The match I had been invited to attend was not at all what I expected. They had pitted the Bull of Alamigo against some dozen or so rival gladiators. Blinkered though I was, would not stand for so obvious an injustice, and demanded to see a fair fight, one man against another. My royal wish was duly granted. It was not until later that I learned the gambling ring which had arranged for Raubon to die on the sands that day. Regardless, my intervention meant that Raubon had but a single opponent to dispatch, which he duly did, and when he knelt before me to receive the winning purse, he swore that he would one day offer me his blade and service. Surrounded as I was by liars and manipulators, I confess I dismissed it as a pleasant piece of theatre. But as you know, Raubon is a man of his word. It took him another 5 years of fighting on the blood sands. He amassed a fortune so great as to buy not only his freedom, but a seat on the syndicate. And then I had my blade. Flash! Baby of the universe. Sean 1.0 were faced him in the pit as well. Just as a friendly tournament. Or it was a job mission, I can't remember. I'm sure I remember fighting him in the pit.
Your Grace, you mustn't! The danger is too great! Please, Your Grace, come back! I beg of you!
It seems you're the one who needs looking after, Master Sham. Raubon!
Your Grace, I have kept the promise made.
So you have, and in turn, so too shall I keep mine. With your winnings, you have become one of the 6 most wealthy souls in all Uldar. And so, as tradition dictates, Rauban Aldin, you have earned yourself a seat on the Syndicate. May your new station garner you still greater glories.
I am honored, Your Grace, and vow to serve with every fiber of my being from this day till my last.
Barely hear that
Long live
music.
the Sultana, and long live Uldar!
Totally drowned out by the crowd noise. Hey, lullaby, and everybody, how you doing? Words cannot well express what that man means to me. There are others who care deeply for my well-being, of course. Papa Shan's love for me is as that of a grandsire for his grandchild. But upon matters of governance, cannot turn to bodyguards and maidservants, of course, for counsel. Now Barn, with the authority of his syndicate position, was the first sword I could wield. His was the only edge which could cut the strings that bound me. Slowly plodding through patch content now that I've finished the Omega. I'll be going to sleep soon because I'm tired, because I went to bed pretty early yesterday since I didn't stream. I'll have a early-ish stream tomorrow when I get up after I've done some work. But touch up my CV and that a bit more. The Sultana's duty. Anamor seems lost in thought of the past. We must make haste. Absence will not go unnoticed by the Sultan's sworn for long, and there are other places I would visit. Hidi Azaneth Assyria. That place. Ah, look! It's the guy that got burnt out. Hey, Quantum. Played too much Final and got burnt out. I was... where the hell is that? Second Platinum? Which game? I've been very vacant on Twitch the last week or so. Mainly because of Tinternet. I couldn't even watch YouTube. Yeah, I could watch Netflix. Work's killing motivation. Story, Quantum. Story. Adventure, happy times in Final Land. Those are the things to make you forget about work and be like, ooh, adventure. When the calamity threatened, Raubarn led the Alliance forces into battle on the plains of Cartnor, and I remained here. I prayed with all my heart that Archon Louis Soir would have the power to rouse the 12. Since that day I've made a custom of visiting this shrine during each of my little excursions. Here I seek the blessing of Thal, reflect upon my choices, and ask myself if I'm fulfilling my duties as Sultana. You are rightly celebrated as a champion because you have led the line in 100 battles for the good of Eorzea. In much the same way, I believe the measure of a monarch lies in how she leads her people in times of adversity. If I am to be a sultana worthy of the name, cannot turn a blind eye to the troubles facing Uldar. I have chosen my path, Jasix. With Alamigo now freed from imperial chains, I finally see a way to aid the refugees. Already many displaced Alamegans seek to begin the long trek home. To facilitate that process, I've made a small contribution, an artisan school in Ralgar's Reach for any who wish to learn new trades. Realistically, however, it will take years for such training to yield tangible benefits. But we do not have years. These people will need shelter and employment if they are to survive. And this time the Uldan Treasury shall provide. Precisely where and how to allocate the necessary funds is, of course, another question. I don't want to choose the second one. Why not seek the advice of one who employs refugees? Well, I know who that'll lead. Let you ask a member of the syndicate. That's a hard choice. Why not seek the advice of one who employs refugees? Know who that's going to lead to. Wise suggestion. Mayhap a visit to the Gold Saucer is in order. Its proprietor is a member of the syndicate. He is one of few who pay refugees a fair wage. Not the person I was thinking of, but never mind. I wonder, are you acquainted with Godbert Mandeville? Yep. I mean, I haven't, to be honest, I haven't done any of his quests in Realm Reborn. I did his quests in the original Final Fantasy 1.0. But I've not done any in this one. Should probably do them at some point. Well, he is a most generous man, something of an eccentric. Let's make our way to the landing. I will see that word is sent to the Gold Saucer. Albert should be only too glad to receive us. Damn it. Yeah, what we're going to get it was a sprout. Papaya, 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 papaya. Did you do the Easter event, Lullaby? Why am I standing at the Moogle? I have ridden aboard a public airship before, but this shall be my first visit to the Gold Saucer. To confess to some excitement. Gold Saucer. I had heard descriptions of its splendor, yet I never dreamed it would be so bright and inviting. My eyes! No, I couldn't possibly. We did not come here to fritter away the royal coin. Albert will be expecting us. Come, let us head directly to the lounge and ignore these gaudy temptations. Yeah, you do that. Fuck, I can't do a New Game Plus. Damn it. Squeenix, change the way New Game Plus works. Damn it. Oh. Stop locking out NPCs. Wait, what? You can't use the Ethernet in New Game Plus and the Gold Saucer. What? Why? That makes no sense. Huh. Thought so. I believe this is where we are to meet Lord Mandeville. Shall we sit while we await his coming? He looked nothing like that in 1.0 though. He had dark hair. My apologies, Your Grace. I have kept you waiting. No apologies are necessary, Gilbert. My request was sudden, and you were kind to make yourself available at such short notice. When the Sultana herself comes calling, there is no more important engagement. As to the purpose of my visit, I would have your thoughts on how the Crown might best aid the refugees residing in Thanalan. You are aware, I am sure, that many of Alamigo's displaced sons and daughters long to return to their newly liberated homeland. You are also aware of how they will suffer without shelter and work to sustain them. I would use our nation's wealth to spare them that suffering. What advice have you for me on the matter of how it might best be distributed? The unusual circumstances of our meeting and your Grace's choice of companion would suggest to me a desire for an honest and unvarnished opinion. I shall give you one. My advice to you is this. Stop taxing Uldar's wealth to save Alamigan refugees is a terrible, terrible idea. You oppose my proposition? Most emphatically. Emphatically. I agree with your Grace that the refugees must have housing and employment, but what profit is there for Uldar in this arrangement? Profit? After all you have done for Gearbanius displaced, I thought you the very last person to seek to benefit from their misfortune. Forgive me, Your Grace, but you appear to be labouring under a misapprehension. It is a fine endeavour to support one's fellow man. I fear, however, that your stance is one born of pity. Your interests to save the refugees, is it not? I think his hair went white, if I remember, from the shock of the calamity. He lived through it. And if I remember, his hair went white from it. The pure shock of it all. I think that was... Might be wrong. Might have been a different NPC, but I'm sure I remember one of them saying that the hair ended up going white because the shock of the calamity. For all our potential, we are indolent creatures by nature. If unconditional charity is all we know, then we begin to rely upon it, expect it. And then we must consider Uldar's own poor and downtrodden. Should they hear of your spending the nation's coin, not to improve their lot, but to nurture the distant citizens of Alamigo, it's unlikely they will applaud your generosity. Surely it is not your grace's intention to foster new resentment, but to spread goodwill? Indeed. Then any support I pledge to the refugees must promote self-sufficiency, whilst also serving the interests of the people of Uldar. Exactly so. Such an arrangement will create a far more equitable relationship with the returning Alamegans, even as it generates the revenue required to win the approval of your subjects. You have given me much to ponder, Lord Mandeville. I thank you for your candor. Sultana's Resolve. How many of these dungeons are optional, by the way? I've just done the drowned city of Scala. I can't remember how many of these. Obviously, the hard ones are optional. I can't remember the rest, which ones were. Are the next 4 mandatory? I know sometimes you usually get some that you don't have to do. Probably a bad idea sitting back, so it'll probably just make us even more tired. But screw it. I get comfy. Right, so where we're up to, the Sultana's Resolve. We're up to there. Still got all of that to do. Yep, we'll be on to Shadowbringers by Wednesday. Actually, what day are we on now? I'm like totally losing track of days. Thursday. I should hopefully have Stormblood stuff finished tomorrow. Touch wood. Hopefully. Alright, anyway, by the way, people lurking and watching, do me a favour. Bang the video on 1080p. And I'm going to spin the camera around and I want to know if it gets fuzzy. Like, badly fuzzy or just slightly fuzzy. I've changed some settings. It's probably going to get fuzzy. I don't know why. No matter what settings I put on, it seems like when there's a lot of motion going on, my videos tend to get a little bit fuzzy. Not terrible, but kills my OCD. Even though my internet and my PC and everything's more than capable of handling it. But anyway, I'm just gonna spin the camera around. How's it look? Does it get a bit pixely? In fact, I'll run around while doing it as well. Add a bit more wash into it. I've changed some settings today to a little, yeah. Doesn't matter what settings I put it on, I can't get rid of it. I'm so tired now. Perfect. Thought never even crossed my mind. I'll end up looking at the board myself later and thinking, it looks horrible. I always do. Standing about lamenting my naivety will not do anyone any good. I shall consider my lesson learned and press on. Jasix, are you perchance acquainted with any successful merchants? My attempt at philanthropy is obliged to reap a profit. It would seem wise to consult someone with a knack for business. Ordinarily, I would not trust any agent of the East Nalnard Trading Company. If you hold this Hancock fellow in high esteem, I am content to be led by you. You may repay my faith by journeying to distant Kugani and speaking with him on my behalf. Eager though I am to visit those shores, I have not the leisure for a lengthy sea voyage. Now, assuming you have travelled as adventurers are wont to do, I shall await your report by the 8th rate in Uldar. A fair journey to you, Jasix, and a swift one, if you please. Why don't you go yourself? Little shit. What am I, a skivvy? Doodle-doodle-doo. But at least everything's running smooth. Touch wood. Like, no internet cut out so far. Hopefully that guy changing the wire was the solution to all the problems. I thought he had left. Like, he plugged something into our socket after sitting testing for a half an hour in the house, and then he just left, saying he had to go out and do some work. And I thought, all right, so because we've had people come out in the past, and usually when they go out of the box, they're only gone for like half an hour. But this guy was gone for like 2.5 hours, and I was like, where the hell is he? Has he gone away and left his stuff? And then he came back in and said, oh, I've had to relay the entire cable. But at least he went above and beyond, unlike the last one. The last one just went, I've just reseated the cable. Seems to have done the trick. Now I just want this new router, because, well, newer router. Because our router is old, and what ISP just doesn't seem willing to give one. They said they're only going to send one if our current one, if there's still a problem. If the internet still continues to die, they said then they'll probably send us one. That's some fucking bullshit. Making your customers have a outdated router. I think if your customer requests for an upgraded one, you should be obliged to give them one. I mean, it's not like I get for free. Because you normally get your first one free, and then after that you have to pay for them, and they're just added on your bill. Speaking of bill, I bet you they don't put the discount on. We're keeping an eye on it, because obviously we've had these issues for over 2 months. And one of the managers said they would give you a discount. And then the last person I spoke to, before the one I spoke to today, said you won't get a discount if the engineer manages to resolve your problem. And I was thinking, no, because we've had nothing but broken internet for 2 months now. By law, they've got to give you a discount. So yeah, I'm keeping an eye on it, and if they try and get away with not giving me a discount, well, not much I can do anyway. That falls on the actual bill payer. I mean, I pay towards it, but it doesn't come out of my bank. I just give them the money. Jasix, to what do we owe this pleasure? Or are you here on business? I beg your pardon? Her Grace the Sultana would have my opinion on how best to invest the wealth of Uldar. My dear Jasix, I have you to thank for this recognition, I am sure. I am flattered that you have come to me, truly flattered. Why settle for a lowly apprentice when you could have the master? Upon master of profit, there is no living soul better qualified to advise her grace than Chairman Lollerito. No! Nope. I'll pass. Right. Safe. A man whose morning exertions are set to fill his garderobe with gold. I should be happy to arrange a meeting for you, say, at the Scion's former headquarters in Thanalan. No, I don't want to go there, man. The crystal's a mile away. Making sands would seem a suitable neutral venture for negotiations, don't you think? Very well, Jasix. May your dealings prove fruitful. I gave him all this wage for like 2 seconds of a conversation. You son of a dingo. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Welcome back, Jasix. Did your merchant friend have any useful advice to share? Lollerito? And you agreed to this? I am well aware of his standing in the field of business. I'd hoped to keep the monetarists at arm's length, and him in particular. Nay, cannot live in fear of the man. Must learn how to treat with him if I am to rule Uldar effectively. Very well. I will meet with Lollerito. Let us go on ahead to the Waking Sands and prepare for his coming. I don't want to go. A mile away. Oh, thank God, it fast travelled us here. Yes! So this is where the Scions first congregated. I had heard many tales, never had occasion to visit. To work then. The hour of the meeting draws near, and I would gather my thoughts. Pray see to it that we have the appointed room to ourselves. Urianger. This is in a room storage facility.
A personal summons from the Scions.
Kill it.
This must be important business indeed. Though, if it concerns anything so underhand as an assassination, I fear I can be of little help.
Kill him. Kill him. Sit your ass down.
You have made your point. 'Tis indeed unsettling to find oneself seated across from an impassive mask. There, would this better please your grace? Or should I address you as Lady Lilira? Hmm?
Nay, the deception has served its purpose. I am glad to see you found amusement in my little jest, Lord Lolorito, but shall we proceed to the business at hand?
By all means. I must say I'm most eager to hear your proposal.
Simply put, I would aid the refugees camped in Thanalan in their efforts to return to Alamigo. The reparations you paid in the wake of your earlier misdemeanors will be used to fund the endeavor, together with the fortune seized from the late Teleji Adeleji's estate. But this plan is not intended to benefit the displaced alone. I would make of this an investment which shall enrich Uldar and Alamigo both. And who better to consult on matters of profit than the wealthiest man in all of Thanalan? I beseech you then, Lord Lolorito, share with us your mercantile wisdom.
Ah, 'twould seem your grace has matured beyond acts of earnest yet misplaced charity. Pray tell me more.
Blah 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 blah.
To summarize, in return for facilitating the repatriation of refugees and assisting in the establishment of new industry in Alamigo, you ask that a proportion of all subsequent profits be promised to Uldar. Ha! I am impressed, Your Grace. 'Tis an elegant solution, albeit one lacking certain crucial details, specifically which industry and where.
How swiftly you identified the weakness in my plan, just as I knew you would. Your travels have taken you across the length and breadth of Gir Abania, and you know the land far better than I.
The salt. The land is rich with it.
Which of the settlements you visited would best provide a home for our refugees? Which has the greatest potential to flourish, given the appropriate investment?
The saltery.
Ah, yes, that desolate little village on the shore of Loch Seld. I know the Saltery and its products well. The Imperial invasion brought an end to their more widespread distribution, much to the dismay of many a wealthy gourmand, myself included. Salt has ever been a transformative ingredient, and in this instance, I dare say, it could transform a modicum of effort into a mountain of gill.
The local citizens will need to be consulted, of course, but I trust the East Aldenar Trading Company can be relied upon to provide its assistance in negotiating a mutually beneficial arrangement.
Naturally, Your Grace. I shall dispatch representatives well versed in the extraction of this white gold and wring every last ons of profit from its production. The Loch's bounty will contribute to Alamigo's enrichment, whilst easing the burden on the bull's aching shoulders, just as Your Grace desired.
A deal is struck, then.
Guess I'm the witness to all that. Unwillingly, as usual. Yeah, It will be many years before I feel comfortable taking part in such negotiations. But I shall not complain. We have piqued Lolorito's interest, secured his invaluable expertise. Thank you, Jasix. I could not have done it without you. Securing the Saltery. Our course is decided. I shall return to the palace and have my ministers begin work on implementing the particulars of the plan. If I could prevail upon you one more time, Jasix, I would ask that you convey the details of our negotiations to Commander Hext on your return to Alamigo. Catch you later, Lou. Have a good one, buddy. I'll be calling it soon as well. My thanks again. Together we will have laid the groundwork for an endeavour which promises to benefit the peoples of Alamigo and Uldar both. See you later, Nanimo. Jasix, you're back. What did Nanimo... Oh, sorry. Are you allowed to talk about your audience with the Sultana? So Raban says he's going to return to Uldar. She isn't sure he wants to. Huh. Tell us something we don't know. I'm pleased to hear she's committed to helping our refugees come home. And this plan to revitalize the Saltery does make a lot of sense. Quite how you convinced her to seek Lolorito's help is another question. After all that has happened, he is the very last person I would expect her to turn to for advice. But on a more practical note, at least, assuming the interim government elects to accept Uldar's proposal, I have one caveat I should like you to include in the bargain. Alamigo must be permitted to cover a portion of the investment. We have a fortune at our disposal after all. Allowing Uldar to provide the entirety of the capital will afford Lolorito too much control. Honestly, Alphino, it's like Gugani never happened. What exactly does a ruthless profiteer have to do to earn your trust? But yes, you do make a good point. First things first though, we need to discuss this proposal with the Saltery's residents. Whisker, how do you fancy explaining the Sultana's plan to your grandfather? I'd like to hear what? I'd like to hear what thinks of the idea before agreeing to anything. Right away, Commander. You mind coming along, Jasix? I may need you to fill in the details. And I shall come as well. With what wish to discuss figures, my knowledge of the nation's finances may prove useful. I'll just walk out. If I can remember the way out. There it is. Da, 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 da. Yaka! Oh, I'm tired. Slippy, slippy. What manner of mischief brings you, young'uns, to old Wat this time, eh? They want to rebuild the Saltery, Grandad. Jasix, tell them about the deal. Blah, 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 blah. Well, bugger me. We've never had the coin or the hands to put the place back to how it was. Sounds like that's about to change. It's just one small wrinkle in your plan. Doesn't account for all the nasties queuing up to eat anyone who goes near the shore. King used to send soldiers to kill the buggers, but the Imperials weren't about to help the likes of us. Don't worry, Grandad. We'll take care of that. Commander Hext has been talking about starting up a regular patrols. And I'm sure she'd assign me to the lock if I asked. I'd appreciate that, Whisker, my lad. Truly I would. So does this mean you've gotten better with that blade of yours? I've been training, aye. Mostly to kill Imperials. You have some experience hunting monsters, don't you, Jasix? You can cast an eye over a few of the local beasties and teach me how to deal with them. Leave it to me. Let's not waste any time then. See you by the locks. Unless you are busy attending to the local fauna, I shall have Master Watt explain to me exactly what is required to restore the Saltery to its former glory. Good hunting. Right then, Jasix. I've got a spyglass here you can use to take a closer look at these pests. Once you've got their measure, you can tell me what to do and see how well I get on. Search your surroundings for yabbies. Yabbies. Wow, there's a bit of haptic feedback for this. The trigger's tightened up a bit. Yeah, now it's gone. That was weird. I suppose I had to put it somewhere because obviously you're not using trigger when you're fighting normal stuff in the game. You're using a square, triangle, circle, X in the D-pad. The Abbey's entire body is protected by a hard carapace. The underside of its head looks soft and vulnerable. Ah, looks like you found a yabby. I see you hitting their shells like smacking a rock. Any suggestions? Aim for the soft underside of the head. Vulnerable under the head, are they? Right then. Wish me luck. Victory! Thanks, Jasix. Did just as you told me, and the way of kin, the way of kin went down like a sack of potatoes. Let's find something else. I think I can handle the yabbies now. Let's try something different. What else is out here? The eyeball. You off now as well, Lullaby? Or are you seeing Thank the Loop? The four-bed's hands are large and powerful. Destroying its crystallized core should render the salt golem inanimate. You sense power pulsating from behind its brow. Ah. Yeah. Cool. Catch you later, Lullaby. Have a good one. I'm probably going to be stopping it very soon as well. Ugh. Poor bad. How do I defeat one of those? Look it in the eye! Destroy the core within its brow. Inside its head, is it? I'll try to stab it right between the eyes then. And I'm right between you when you walk away, nothing more to say. Thousand lies in the skies, hidden right between the eyes, hidden right between you. Walk away. Got that tunes in my head now. Not easy fighting with the liberator of Alamigo watching your every move. But I got the job done. Thanks for the advice, Jasix. I feel a lot better prepared for my patrols now. Anyway, we should head back to the Saltry before Grandad starts to worry. They're being snipped into pieces and fed to Yabi's hatchlings. What? What? Nanda desu ka? I see you've returned in one piece. Dealt with those beasties then, did you? I fought them myself, after a bit of instruction from Jasix here. Like, once I've shared what I've learned with the others, we should have no trouble keeping the shoreline clear. Good lad. Fine young man you've become, Whisker. A fine young man indeed. Too often of late I hear tales of folk over the city drunk on victory and hungry for revenge. A head stuck firmly in the past. We need to set our sights on the future. Things which will improve our lot. Things like getting the Saltery ready to welcome our long-lost countrymen. Oh boy. Right. Much as I'd like to continue, I'm tired. I'm gonna get myself to bed as well. Get up bright and early, sort my CV and everything out, and then have a long day of this, and hopefully get through Stormblood, so then the next day I can start Shadowbringers. But until then, I want to call it there for the night, guys. If you're new to the channel, as always, feel free to that follow button. It's always appreciated. If you scroll down, you find a link to my Twitter and YouTube. All VODs are exported to YouTube. If you miss a stream, you can find them over there. If you're watching on YouTube, feel free to that sub button. It's always appreciated. And if you look in the banner of my YouTube banner, you'll see a button that'll lead you here to Twitch. Feel free to come by and hang out when I'm online. And the best way to know when I'm on again is if you follow us here on Twitch or on Twitter. But yeah, until then, have a good night, guys. Thanks for watching. See you again later. Peace.